Biden never pushed for a ceasefire in Gaza. Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. Former Israeli ambassador to the United States Mike Herzog acknowledged on Israeli media that the Biden administration never at any time pressured Israel for a ceasefire in Gaza. Here's a quote. "God did the state of Israel a favor that Biden was the president during this period, because it could have been much worse," Herzog said. "We fought in Gaza for over a year and the administration never came to us and said, 'Ceasefire now.' It never did." End quote. So everyone who said the Biden administration was working for a ceasefire lied. They lied that whole entire time. They committed genocide and lied about it, and then they said you were crazy and irresponsible if you didn't support them. People's rage should shake heaven and earth. The U.S. has committed another huge massacre of civilians in Yemen, this time bombing a detention center full of African migrants in Sada. Some 68 people have reportedly been killed, making this Trump's worst massacre in Yemen since his terrorist attack on a Hodeidah fuel port killed 80 people earlier this month. Trump's massacres of civilians in Sada and Hodeidah are much more evil than anything he has done in the United States domestically, but they've received almost no attention from the media or from Democrats, because in the eyes of the empire, Yemenis don't count as human beings, and killing them is normal. The word anti-Semite has become so meaningless that whenever someone uses it, you have to ask them, what kind? The Hitler was right kind, or the stop bombing hospitals kind? It's absolutely batshit insane that it's increasingly illegal to voice any praise for groups like Hamas and Hezbollah in the UK and Australia just because the government deems them terrorists. What happens when the government is wrong and one of those groups is right? They're seriously going to ethnically cleanse Gaza after a monstrous extermination campaign, and then look us all dead in the eyes and tell us we need to hate China. It's wild how the U.S. and Israel just came right out and said, yeah, we're working on permanently ethnically cleansing all Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, and then the entire Western political media class went right back to pretending to believe this is about fighting Hamas. Calling the Gaza genocide a war is like seeing a man beating a toddler to death and calling it a fight. So much evil hides behind calling this thing a war. If you accept that it's a war, then you have to take seriously arguments like, it's a war, civilians die in war, or Hamas shouldn't have started a war they can't win. If it's a war, then it has two sides who share comparable levels of responsibility for any bad things that happened during that time. If it's a war, then it's taken as a given that Israel's primary target is Hamas, and not the civilian population of Gaza in its entirety. But it's not a war. It's a naked ethnic cleansing operation being carried out by a highly sophisticated military with the backing of the most powerful empire that has ever existed. It's a globe-spanning power structure, openly purging a Palestinian territory of Palestinian life using a full siege and the systematic destruction of all healthcare and civilian infrastructure, being resisted by a few thousand guys with homemade rockets and dwindling supplies. That's not a war. It's not even a conflict. It's a slaughter. It's a Holocaust. If the Gaza Holocaust is a war, then shooting fish in a barrel is hunting. Beating up a quadriplegic is a street brawl. A SWAT team shooting an unarmed civilian is a gunfight. No conflicts are perfectly equal, but past a certain level of one-sidedness, the language of conflict becomes absurd. The daily massacres we are seeing in Gaza are far beyond that point. They are raining military explosives on top of a giant concentration camp packed full of children while deliberately starving the entire civilian population to death. They have complete control over the enclave, and they are using that control to eradicate the presence of Palestinians in Gaza. That is not a war. That is genocide.